water? Oh. If you need more. Yeah. That's the one, the quiz you've been waiting for.
Oh boy. I knew it was going to happen.
Where is that? Let's see. Does everybody see it?
Yep.
Okay, good. Well, and I think I sent the attachment with the map earlier too, a couple times. I know, it made me worried, like, let me go look and see if I actually did that. Hi, Tyler.
What?
That is great. Well, and I actually, one of our questions that we'll ask students is what are they wanting to hear too? So we'll talk about that. Yes, agreed. Yeah, I totally agree. So see here, I've got a list of some questions right here, right? Yeah. Yeah, and then here, students, what are some other topics? So my thought is we'll talk about what we're doing, we'll go into some stuff, we'll ask questions, and at the end ask this, then once they kind of see what we're about, because I think that they'll be able to formulate what types of things they would like to see. Naim, hello, how are you? It's so good to see you. Good. So, yes, so my class starts at 6:10, so we're getting a couple things done.
Okay.
And then Nikki's class, her class comes in at 6:30. And so that's why we're gonna start at 6:30.
Awesome.
Nikki is my A+ instructor, so she's doing A+, and then this class is a Cisco class. We're in CNT150, the second.
Oh, 150.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we're in the
Gotcha.
second class. So we'll fill in a little bit more. Hey, Clay, there's a quiz in there.
A quiz?
There's a quiz in there for them to do.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah, you get. I like
like a
you got
quiz.
your. I like that you have your student hat on.
I got nervous. I took my CCNA in 2001.
It's
so it's been a while.
It's about a default gateway.
Oh, I can do that.
Okay.
You might be able to.
Yeah,
I
can
think
do
you
that.
could do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, Jose. Okay. Hello. Come on in. Grab a seat. Are you here for the speaker? Oh, Kendall. Okay. Okay, so that
Kendall's gonna be
I was
teaching
thinking
intro to
Kendall, not Ken.
Hey, good to
Kendall,
see you.
I'm
and really, I'm
Andrea.
just scoping the place out for future stuff.
Yes. So we are going to have 3 people. Are you going to?
He's gonna, yeah.
It's
Oh, you're
up to
just
you
gonna
guys.
watch.
I mean, I don't mind watching. I don't want to sort of steal their thunder.
Okay.
Maybe I'll do it in the future, right?
Okay.
So
Yeah,
just
yeah.
wanted to kind of check out the audience and what we were talking
Okay,
about.
perfect. Yeah, just like we've got 2 classes that are going to be in here. This is a Cisco class. They're in their second of 3 classes. And then we've got an A+ class that's going to be joining us at 6:30. That's why we're going to start at 6:30. So.
Yeah, perfect. And as far as like preparing for the workplace and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm happy to contribute in
Okay.
whatever way, but yeah.
That'll be
You know,
great.
all that stuff,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. Sit in the audience and then kick in when you.
That's it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Good.
Come on in. Come on in. Are you here for the speaker series? Hi. Come on in. Grab a seat. So this is a class. We've got a couple things to do before it starts, but okay.
Thanks, sir.
Let's see. Can you retake it? Okay. Why do you need to retake it? Oh, no, you cannot retake it. Okay, let's see. Where's Arturo? All right. Let's see. This is a review quiz. We'll see. We'll see. We've been talking about the default gateway. Look at Karita. We've been talking about the default gateway for a long time. It's not going to be hard. It's not going to be that bad. All right, is everybody, okay, I see just another minute to finish that up, and then I want to talk about a few other things. So are you seeing us, Viviana? It's not? You're watching it?
Yeah.
Okay, and you can see it. There's a delay, right? Like a minute?
It's like 40 seconds.
Oh, it's only 20 seconds?
Are you
You're right up here. So we'll be, yeah, so that if anyone joins on the stream. Okay, so let me make a couple of announcements. So for any of you, if you're working on your skills project, part 1A through D, if you haven't finished that, then what I'd like you to do is go to the calendar and schedule an appointment with me. So if you go to the calendar, okay, so if you go to the calendar for our class, I have appointments open Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, okay? So schedule, let's see. It's going to show up here in just a second. Friday, I'm not looking at the right class. Let me look at the right class.
Is it just for part 1?
It's just for part 1 at this point. Is anybody seeing it? If you go to your calendar, can you see it? Oh, I think it's because I'm looking at February. Let me look at March. There it is, right here. Okay, so you should see this, Skills Project, Part 1. Okay, so if there's anything in Part 1, if you're stuck in that, because you can't move on to Part 2, okay, so if you're stuck there, schedule an appointment with me. I have times available on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And if none of those times work, then send me a message to give me a day and time. That might help, okay? Because I don't want you stuck on Part 1 any longer. You got to get into Part 2, okay? So schedule that. Yes?
I have a different feedback than just wrong or
Do you know? Do you mean when you're meeting with me? We'll see. We'll see. It's your final skills project. And I know that's not the only feedback you're getting. Chris is giving very good feedback. Okay. But yeah, I don't, you're worried that that's what I'm going to give, right? Wrong, incorrect. Final skills project. That's what I do. Wrong, incorrect. Chris is giving you much better feedback than you would get from me. But no, I want to help people get through this, whatever the obstacle is that's holding you back from that. What did you say? Yeah, no. Okay, and then a couple questions have come up about the mind maps. So I put out an announcement about the mind maps. I think some of you are getting zeros because of the way that you're naming them. Okay, so with the naming in the assignment, it tells you when naming your file, use the following format: your first name, your last name, the module number, and then the name of the module. So if you got a 0 on it, that's probably why. Just resubmit it. Go fix your name and resubmit it. Okay, fix your name and resubmit it. And then if you're looking to maximize your points on your mind maps and you're wondering why, I gave a deeper kind of explanation about it, and then I broke down some of the parameters that you might want to look at in order to increase your points. Okay. Okay, so I just published, again, we have a little bit of time, so hang in there while we're doing class stuff. All right, so I just published a matching game. So attacks. All right. So this is based on our security module, Module 10 and Module 11, on attacks. So you might see some denial of service, some zero-day attacks, match those up, okay? Some DHCP starvation.
Thank goodness it's not cooperative.
Hello. No, I don't think so. Like a panel discussion. Or we can move up front, whatever is easiest. Whatever works for you.
I love y'all's classroom.
Yeah, it's nice.
It's so much different than ours at UCC, but I like this.
Yeah, and see, there's our Cisco equipment. Everything's connected in there, so all of our devices are consoled in.
Can I go check out?
Yeah, yeah. I know, we have really probably the nicest lab in the district, although Mesa's is very good too.
Really?
Yeah,
I gotta check theirs out.
yeah, Mesa's is very nice. Hey, Aaron, grab a seat. There's lots of open chairs in the aisles. Yay. Yes? Which one, Tyler? Yes. Let's see, U1, true. Okay, and then I've got one more. I have a Frogger. Okay, so and let's get some people up here in the middle, and let's fill in the rows too, right? They've got some seats up here. Thank you for sitting in the front row. All right, so get people, when they come in, bring them up here, okay?
I did this one.
Probably as homework. There's some seats up here in the front. Come on up front. Hello. Let's see. Perfect, perfect. Hi. So how's everyone doing on the Frogger?
Okay.
Output of the show parts going to be down means. Now be configured on which of the following manually port. Ah. Oh. I can't be a teacher anymore. I think I need to read more carefully. This feature should only be configured on the ports attached to end device. Oh. End devices. Oh, thank goodness. This violation transitions the port to error disabled. Shut down. MAC address table attacks can be mitigated by doing what? Limiting the number of outages. Yes. Oh, I didn't read. I have to read. What do I always say? Slow is fast. Read and slow is fast. Slow is fast. Okay, so we're going to get started in a couple of minutes. Bryan and Naim, you want to take your seats?
Yes, please, please.
Okay. So I've got a mic so
Sorry,
that
I'm blocking you.
I'm going to turn that light off in just a minute so it's not right in your face.
We need a microphone.
Well, I think for the streaming, because since we're streaming this, I think that's the only way. And just keep your chairs kind of in the square there. Let me
I
see.
think I'm looking good.
Let me check
Testing,
and see if I can see you. Let's see.
Hello, hello, hello.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a delay here. Okay, so let me turn off that light so that it's not in your face. Oops, I'm gonna turn that off.
Oh, awesome. It's amazing. I can see y'all. Yeah, a little bit better.
Okay, yeah, that's a little better, right? That's a little better. Okay, so then let's see here. I want to put something,
This thing wasn't running down and then it shut off.
and then give,
Technology, man.
yeah, darn technology. Okay, so we're gonna start at 6:30 in 1 minute.
Okay. Yes, this is awesome.
Okay. 6:29, 6:30, okay. All right, so for any of you that don't know me, I'm Andrea Schauer. I'm the program director of the CCNA program, the A+ class that you're taking. And so if you haven't met me before, maybe you'll be taking a CCNA class and you'll see and meet me soon enough. And some of you I met really early on. Thank you for being here. We are streaming this event, and so this is the very first in a series of what we're hoping to start. Bryan and I from the iMasons have been working together for a few months, and this is a little brainchild of ours where we're hoping to start having a speaking event every month. And this is our very first one, and this is going to just kind of be an open forum. We've got some ideas for some conversations to have. We also have some questions that were submitted by students, so we'll pose those as well. And you'll have a chance to also ask some questions. Okay, so I'm going to have you each introduce yourselves if you're okay with that. And again, we really just want you to feel comfortable to ask anything about the field of IT. They both have a broad range of knowledge in various areas. Naim just also is working, you finished the scholarship, right? You're
Yes,
done,
well,
so
I'm still getting
you're
it.
student.
Yes,
So
yes.
Naim is a Microsoft scholarship recipient too, so he might be able to also answer some questions about that, okay? So with that, Bryan, can I have you introduce
I
yourself?
don't know if the mic is working, but
Is it on? Yeah, it's on.
Hello, hello.
Yeah, we won't necessarily. Hey, Viviana,
okay.
can you ask them if they can hear? Ask the people that are participating if they can hear us. Yeah,
Oh, really?
no,
Okay,
it's just going
gotcha.
through the stream.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they can hear it. Great.
And we can't actually hear them, but we can interact with them from the chat.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Well, very good. So I'm Bryan Darby. I'm Vice President of Strategic Initiatives at QTS Data Centers. QTS Data Centers is one of the biggest data center operators in the world, and I've been with them about 7 years. I live here in Arizona, originally from New Jersey, via California, and came down to Arizona in 2006. So here tonight, just happy to be here to talk about anything you guys want to talk about as far as workforce development, getting your job, careers, anything we can help you with, we want to talk about. I'm from iMasons, is the organization that I represent here tonight, and we're trying to build workforce development pipelines between students like you guys to get jobs at companies like us. So as you think about data centers growing and AI and all the things happening in technology, we want to have more students, more young people coming into the industry, and that's why we're here. We want to talk about how we can connect with you guys, give you the right skill sets, answer questions, and get you prepared for interviews and get you prepared for jobs. I see some shaking heads, so that must be a good thing. You guys must want to work. All right, awesome. So feel free to ask me anything tonight. I'm open. If I don't have an answer, I will give you my information, and you can email me or call me or something like that. But I want to make sure we're connecting, make sure I'm answering questions, and make sure you guys know I'm a resource to help. All right?
Hey y'all, I don't have an introduction as awesome as Bryan's, but my name is Naim. I'm a full-time student at EMCC, and I am a data center tech at Microsoft. I got hired there about 4 months ago, October 16th, and I'm just here as a student. I want y'all to know that I do work there, but I'm a student too. I'm with y'all, so whatever questions you have, please feel free to ask, and I'll hopefully have an answer for you.
So can I start with a question to you, Bryan? How many data centers are coming online in the next 5 years?
That's a great question.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
there's a lot of things happening. We're going to be the 5th biggest data center market in the country.
Yeah.
So we're going to be the 5th biggest data center market in the country. So when you think about that, that means that we're going to be bigger than the majority of the metropolitan cities that you see for the NFL cities, they call them. So for us, we're growing so fast, we're going to have 14 different operators operating hundreds of data centers. So the company I work for, QTS Data Center, we're building 5 buildings, 5 data centers on 40th and McDowell. I don't know if some of you have seen it right off the 202. And you see that big sign that says QTS. All of those data centers are sold out and they're all filled. So all of that's complete before the construction is done. We're building 17 data centers in Glendale, and we're looking at land to build in Avondale. So that tells you how big this is and how much is happening, and this is just one company. So for us, it's building hundreds of data centers, meaning we need hundreds of technicians over the next couple of years. So for us, it's figuring out how do we create sustainable, scalable workforce development programs with younger people, because people my age, are graduating out of the career industry and retiring. So we need newer people, younger people to come in, and we need technicians. We need to be able to say, meet you guys where you are, help you gain the skill sets, help you understand what this industry needs and is about, and help you get into our data centers to operate. So we've created internship programs. We've created speaking engagements. We've created tours of data centers. We're going to start doing virtual tours, and we're going to be here every Wednesday, fourth Wednesday of the month, talking about these topics, answering questions, and talking about how we can help you be successful. So I know I went way around your answer,
Yeah.
but that was a lot. I just
No.
want to make sure we're hitting that as to how big of a need this is. We need hundreds of people to work, and we've done these things for about a year now, and we've been somewhat successful. We got to get much more successful. We need to really ramp up what we're doing, and we need to come out and meet you guys where you are, get you where you need to be, make sure you have the IQ and the EQ to be successful, not just the IQ. Not just being Cisco certified, you need to be able to communicate, you need to be successful in the interview, you need to be able to talk to people, and you need to be able to articulate yourself. Because you're going to be competing against people my age. And I'm old. I've been around for a long time, and I've done all the stuff you've done. I do optical networking. I lead a team now as vice president of optical networking that does stuff all over the world. My team does that. There are years and years of experience, but we need people to come in and learn and grow and be part of this industry because we can't do it without new people coming in.
Do you have anything to add from the perspective of that you're working in a data center?
Yeah, I just want to add that we do need people bad, and we need people that want to be there. And I think one of the biggest things is that people don't know about data centers. A lot of people that I've talked to, data centers are relatively new. With the growth of AI, we haven't experienced the need for data centers that we do now. But yeah, we need people. So if y'all are looking to get into IT, get into the industry, get into a career where you can branch from, getting into data centers is a perfect opportunity.
So do I need to explain what a data center is?
I think
I
it-
want to level set everybody as to what this is.
I
Do
think,
I see a person shaking their
Yeah,
head.
okay.
yeah, I think it would be helpful.
So when you see you probably don't even know what our buildings are. It's a building that's off the 202 is QTS data centers. You see what we're building, right? Massive facilities. Inside of those buildings, it looks just like that room. But it's thousands and thousands and thousands of computers and things. So you've got two different paths you can take when you go into the data center industry. You can be a Cisco network rack and stack technician like you guys are kind of training for here, that Naim is, and he goes into Microsoft and he works there. We have data center technicians that rack and stack computers, cable, do all the things that you want to do to bring up equipment infrastructure for our customers, right? Our customers bring their equipment in. They actually want to have you rack and stack. That's called our rack and stack technicians. Those are positions that start off at $20 to $25 an hour. Okay, so there's Cisco's techs. You can grow and advance from there and go into Cisco networking. In addition to doing it for the customers, on the white space is what we refer to it as, you can do it for our company as a whole within the data center. In other words, we still have our email and our technicians, and it's called corporate IT. So you can come work in that corporate IT. My team leads fiber optics, they lead networking, optical networking, so they actually do it for our company, but we also do it for customers in certain circumstances, especially really big customers. So that's one path, and that's the path most of you will take. You'll want to come in and be a rack and stack technician making $20 to $25 an hour. You like that, right? That makes sense. So that's what you'll start with, and that's similar to what Naim is doing right now, correct? So that's a path you'll take. Another path we're creating is a certification for more of the electrical mechanical operations to run that facility. So when you think about it and you drive past that building, there's all these electrical lines and a substation in the back because we use so much power. We have to cool all that equipment, right? That room is fairly small. You don't have a lot of the things we have to have, but you think about it, we're doing it at scale. So we have to have massive cooling equipment, massive generators to run so that place never goes down. We've got redundancy built into everything we do. So there's an operational piece of running the building, electrical technicians, and that starts between $20 to $25 an hour, quickly goes to $30, $35 an hour. So there's two paths you can take. One is more the IT path, one is more the electrical mechanical technician path. Any questions around that? Because that's important. I want to make sure we're clear. This team here would probably, or these students here would probably be interested in the IT path. Go ahead.
So the rack and stack job, is that like entry level?
That's like our entry-level technician. Yep. Like a.
Kind of, qualifications there?
So that's a great question. You're helping me out, man. I should have you come up here for me.
Can I
So,
add something
Sure.
before you answer that question? A lot of what they're talking about, so they're data center centric, right? However, this is going to apply for any type of IT job.
Correct.
Right? I mean, there's a lot of companies out there, not just data centers, that are looking for IT. So whatever area that interests you in IT, know that the skills and the soft skills and the EQ and even the way you present yourself and the types of certificates that you're going to seek, it's going to be similar. Or,
Yeah.
it's transferable. And so just like you might not start at a data center, you might start someplace else, then you could advance to a data center, or you might start as an entry level in a data center and advance someplace else. So whatever it is that excites you, whatever it is that you are already passionate about, apply that to what they're saying, okay? So this isn't like just, oh, okay, I don't have to, I'm not interested in a data center. It applies to anything.
It does. That's a great point, even though data centers are the most important thing in the world. But that's my opinion.
Yes. So then, back to Ben's question
Ben.
about,
So-
qualifications, certifications.
Yeah, so that's a great question. So what we typically start off with is that you have like an A+ certification or a, what's the other one?
Net
A
Plus.
Network Plus. Yeah, Network Plus certification is, or CCNA. We love to see a CCNA, but you definitely have to have the Net Plus and the A+ certification really helps you. And have, if you have a CCNA, that's a great certification to have. I have my CCNA and it helped me get in the door early on. I worked for a healthcare company and was doing basic switching and routing and networking early on, and I just grew and grew and grew throughout the process and became management and eventually went over to data centers. So that's the starting point of what you would need. Getting your CCNA is going to be a great opportunity for you. And also not just taking the classes and saying you know the skills, take the certification, because that helps you. So when I send your resume to our HR person, she already knows that you have that. That's a step above a lot of other people. What you have to realize is that when we get your resume, you're going to get probably 10 seconds they're going to look at your resume, and that's it. That's all you're going to get. So you've got to make sure your information is there, you have the credentials, and you stand out. When you get an interview, it's probably 10 seconds or less even on the interview. So the goal is to make you as marketable as possible. And when you have that certification, it shows that you're tenacious, shows that you've done the work, it shows that you're willing to do what it takes to get the cert. I missed my certification the first time by like 2 points, went back the next day, studied all night and said, I'm gonna do it right now, don't wait. Like I took the class the next day and went back and passed it. So learn good habits, figure out, but we like to see that because you're competing against so many other people. So get your certification.
And I'll just add something else. This hasn't happened yet, but Bryan and I have been talking about how we might be able to create some sort of a scholarship to help people with the funding. So we don't know where that's at yet. And when you get through 160, you can get the CCNA voucher for 50% off, and it's the same in your A+ class. You can get a voucher for 50% off. So there are some opportunities out there to get discounts on the certifications, but we're working on some other options too.
Listen, I'm going to tell you, change your life, okay? Don't let $200 or $300 on a certification. Get the cert. Figure it out. Get the cert. Okay, change your life. We're talking about jobs where you're going to get 401k and benefits. Upscale your life. If you want to level up, then do the work and figure it out. That's what we want to see. So don't let $200 or whatever, I don't even know what it costs, but it's minimal to what you're talking about. When you go into a job like this, our guys make $60,000, $70,000 a year. Grow up. Get the job you want and be there.
And I just wanted to add,
How you follow that?
yeah, that's the tough part. That's the tough part. I just wanted to add, along with CCNA, A+ is really important as well. When you come into these data centers, a lot of times you deal with hardware, and knowing your way around hardware, knowing your way through a motherboard is really important as well. You need hardware before you can progress to the networking level. So I just want to emphasize that, yes, certifications are important, but if you want to focus on one first, get your A+ and your CCNA if you can. But A+ will do you really good. And all certifications are just another tick on the resume to make you look a little bit better. Like Bryan said, it's all about selling yourself in that interview. So any extra points you can get there is wonderful.
Yeah. We want to see that. We want to see that tenacity. We want to see that you made it work. And I would love for someone to come in. I had a person come in and, she was so tenacious about getting it. I think it was impressive to us. And we hired her. She said she went through so much and she begged, borrowed, and begged, borrowed the money to get there. And it made sense for her. She didn't have her hair done, her nails done, or anything else. She spent the time focusing on what was important. Go change your life. So now you're talking about going from a $12 an hour job to a $20 an hour job with benefits and 401k and medical and dental. Take care, you could raise a family off the jobs we're talking about. We're not talking about entry-level positions. We're talking about they're entry level, but they're at a career place where you can learn and earn, and there's room for advancement. So most of the time you see technicians come in, like there's plenty of places to go. Once you get in a company, you can move around. I've done so many things in my career. I started off, my degree is in economics with a specialization in, public health with a specialization in economics. I was going to be a epidemiologist. I was going to be like Fauci. But there was an IT, I'll tell you how old I am. I was at the company, I was an analyst, and there was a position open because computers were fairly new in '96, and they were like, you're pretty good with these computers. I know, this is all right, so just bear with me. So the computers are fairly new. I moved over, go where the technology is going. So I changed everything I went to school for and started doing computer stuff, and it's paid off. So don't sit and wait for things to happen. Go make something happen. Go get the education you need, and go figure out what you can do to up-level your life. And it's so important. And we can't, when we see the right people, we grab them, but be the right person. Okay, so not only have your IQ with your certifications and your degrees, but also have your EQ. Learn that. Practice your interviews, practice on your speaking, be comfortable, be ready, and be prepared for your interviews. That's one of the other things we don't see. You can have all those credentials, but you've got to be fine-tuned. Practice your interviews, practice the process, and be ready for those interviews, and you'll be surprised what will happen to you and what life can bring to you. But do the work.
So Naim, when you went through the process, what are some of the toughest questions that you were asked on an interview? Can you recall?
Yes. Well, Microsoft specifically is mostly about culture. We're a company that believes that collaboration is important, and all of your information, your education, you can learn on the job. Of course, we want you to come in with some education and some background IQ, but we believe in that being a good fit for a culture, having that high EQ where you're able to talk to people, you're able to work in teams, you're able to communicate effectively so that people can help you and people can know where you're going and what you're doing. That's really important. So for me, when it came to my toughest question on my interview, it was more or less the soft skills questions. Questions like, hey, what's the toughest situation you've been in with a manager or coworker, and how are you going to handle this? I got technical questions as well, but those ones were, I guess, mostly geared around the A+. They're geared around hardware and how we would handle things that go wrong within that hardware. But the toughest questions for me personally was being able to express that I can work in a team. I'm a good asset individually. I can add to this company and add to the efficiency of our teams within Microsoft. So my toughest questions, to answer your question, Andrea, were those of soft skills and EQ.
You guys know what EQ is? Everybody know what we mean by that? No? Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
you want to explain it?
Yeah. I would say EQ is emotional intelligence, and it comes down to self-awareness, communication, the way you come off to people, the way people perceive you, the way you show yourself to people. I would consider all of that in a bubble EQ and emotional intelligence.
And it's so important because it comes out in your interview, it comes out in the way you work. You're going to need to work in teams, you're going to need to collaborate, you're going to need to communicate a vision, you need to talk to people. And I tell you, I was shy, believe it or not. I know people were like, no, you weren't. But I was really shy growing up, and I missed out on a lot. You miss out. The closed mouth never gets fed. So you have to speak up for the things you want in life. And I didn't learn that till my 30s, and I haven't stopped talking since. So don't let life change for me when I learn to speak up and learn to represent and speak for myself. No one's going to help you with your career. You have to figure it out, and that's still the case. I tell my son that at 16 years old. I tell my daughter that, and she's in her almost 30. So you have to speak up for yourself. You have to navigate your career. So if you're waiting on things to happen for you, it won't happen. So you're going to have to take control of your career. And a lot of that is being able to speak up and be an advocate for yourself, the things you're good at, the things you know, and how you communicate. Making good eye contact. Being able to communicate effectively a message and how you articulate who you are and what you do. And that's important. And I wasn't able to do that in my 20s. I stayed in the back, and I didn't get involved, and I let things go right. I didn't realize it, but at the time, things were going right past me. And you started to realize that when I got a little older, and I realized that was something I wish I would have done differently growing up. So I'm telling you from my mistakes, learn to speak up for yourself, be an advocate for yourself, don't let opportunities go by. And even if you get an interview and you don't get the job, it's a good experience, you learn. You get that experience, you get that practice, you get those up at bats, you get those swings. That's what you want. A lot of times people who get jobs aren't the best qualified.
Yeah.
You're like, what? It's not the best qualified, it's the person who can articulate and communicate the best. So why don't you be the best person? Like, I was a B student, I wasn't an A student. I was a B student, and once I started to get better. Once I got my CCNA, I was able to articulate myself better at work, and I started to advance, and I started to see the benefits of it. And once you start seeing the benefits of communicating in EQ, then it just keeps going.
Can I add something?
Yeah, we got a bunch of questions.
I just want to add something
Sure.
to what you're already saying. Something that we hear a lot too from industry partners like yourself is not only being able to have good emotional intelligence, but also professional work skills, right? Make sure you know how to create a PowerPoint. Make sure you're able to, stand in front of people and communicate, if you have a presentation. Basic math skills. I always tell people one of the advantages of networking is I don't have to understand differential equations. I just have to understand binary and hex, right? But we have to have basic math skills. So if that's something that you need to work on, make a plan to work on that. And then also professional writing skills, like if you're sending an email. So those are some other things, if you could just talk to that, like you're going to be working with people. So yeah, just touch base on that.
Yeah, so
short touch base.
Sure,
Brian.
okay. I won't go into passion and give you 10 examples. So yeah, you have to be able to, again, that's part of communicating, being able to write an email. And we get emails, like the HR person will tell me they'll get an email, and the first thing they say is, hey. She throws it away. Nobody's responding to hey. Okay, learn to communicate effectively, learn to communicate in a professional manner, learn to type an email, learn to be able to, do an Excel spreadsheet. A lot of times the networking team does Excel when we do rack layouts. We do them in Excel, we
do.
color them. That's how we do it. I mean, you see hundreds of tabs when we do a data center build out in Excel. So you need to learn how Excel works. So I hear people who are technical guys go, I don't need to know, that's finance guys. No, it's not. Excel, we use Excel for those racks. What we do is we put each of the devices, we label. Excel is perfect. It's a rack grid. So you need to learn how to use Excel. So when I explain that to people, they go, well, I'm not a finance guy. Well, you're going to need to know. And at some point, so these are things you need to understand. And that's what we're looking for. So you need to learn how to, utilize the right tools of industry, not just use your phone. Okay? It's not about that. I remember we had an interview with someone, and he shows up and he's on his phone. I just hung up. We're not dealing with that. I don't need you in your car doing that. My time is too valuable, and I've got 148 other people. I can pick somebody else.
I want to just show something real quick for a second. So I'm going to blind you for a second. Sorry. Sorry. Let's see if I can get this to go on.
question in a minute, okay?
I just want to give you an example of.
That's us.
Yeah, that's you. Hold on. Let's see.
I told her to put an afro on me,
So,
but she didn't do that.
like, here's just a general example of our rack layout. And then behind, this, we also have our North Campus. And I don't know exactly where, but topologies. Understand how to create a topology, right? For my CNT150 students, we're doing that right now. And it's a challenge, right? So it's like developing that skill for understanding where your network is.
Yeah, being
Okay.
able to document things is so important to us. And I wish I had one of mine, because ours is just, the guys go over the top on it. It's like crazy. I mean, it is so detailed and so laid out. It's impressive. And we use that as our gospel for what racks do. So customers will give us like a Facebook or a Google will say, we're building out, a whole building, right? A whole data center. And it'll be 800 of those racks. And they'll have literally that many tabs. And you have to go in and you're going to have to rack and stack for that. So you need to know and understand, and when something's dead, or that device is dead, you need to know to be able to document on that and be able to note that. So there's examples of this is the technology and the way we use things. So learn that, learn Excel, learn how to be successful with that. And we think about all the things, the Visio diagrams are so important, like she said, building network diagrams for fiber optic layouts. My guys do that all the time. We do lit services, dark fiber, all that stuff for multiple campuses and stuff, and we need to lay that stuff out. From everything from the manholes to the handholds to the CAVs to all that stuff outside that you don't even see. We do all that, where the fiber runs, all that stuff. That's where you have to learn and understand all these aspects of how to communicate. And that's your email, it's your documents, it's your spreadsheets. Learn those things. It's not on your phone. So understand the world that we work in. That's going to help you when you have that conversation. Your question.
Where could I be able to find like mock CCNA practice tests? So that way I can review them.
It's a young man's question right there.
all kinds.
So I'm
Yeah.
studying for my CCNA right now. I just finished 160 last semester. So what we're using to study is Boson, BOSON. That's a really good testing software. It gives you questions. It lets you choose your domain of questions, or I guess topics that you want to pick from, and then gives you a really in-depth explanation of the right answers. So if you want to check that one out, you have to pay, but it's a really good testing software.
So
Yes.
we offer CNT171 where Boson is included.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Well-
we have a test prep class. It's just 1 credit, right? So it's just 1 credit, and it includes Boson.
Awesome.
And it's a test prep, so.
Okay. And there's one thing I wanted to add about the EQ. I'm not the brightest guy when it comes to IT. I just consider myself a pretty cool guy. I started my IT career about a year and a half ago. So I was never growing up on computers, messing around with hardware or anything like that. I think it was my soft skills that got me my job for the most part. I'm learning on the go, and I'm getting my CCNA, of course, probably this month. So I'm learning, but what really gets you in the door is people wanting to work with you, people enjoying your company, people valuing what you have to say. That's so much more important than your technical talent. So I just wanted to add that tidbit in there that I'm proof that having good soft skills will get you into pretty good companies.
Question, go ahead.
So you've had instances where you've had to interview like a lot of people that in
They got scared, everybody, with that one.
for example, you're 148. So let's say someone has the professional skills, the IQ that you do. What's that differentiator?
That's a great
that most
question.
companies have that
Yeah.
makes them choose that one person?
Yeah, it gets hard. It gets hard. I mean, that's a great question. So if you do have the EQ, you interview well. I mean, we've had I'll give an example where we had, God, 100 and something, and the HR person, hiring person, right? You're going to first, you guys know what HR is, right? Human resources, right? There's going to be a gatekeeper. So she's going to be the recruiter. That's the first line that's going to look at your resume. She's going to take the 10 seconds to figure out if you even got it, what they're looking for. And a lot of times it's not even a person. It'll go through the ATS system. Yeah, so it'll weed you out. Like, so they'll look for
bot.
CCNA, and if you don't have it, you won't even get seen.
Right.
Because I've heard people say, well, they didn't look at my resume. No, they didn't. They didn't look at the resume at all. It just went through the system. So if you kind of got through that part, so from that 140, there'll be, either they'll weed that down to 70 or 60 or something, right? Just right off the bat. And then from there, she'll be able to weed out another 20 or 30 by just what's missing, with location, some of the other things are, just some other reasons why, skill sets and stuff. But it starts to just narrow down, and it starts to get more defined around, okay, well, this person maybe has a little more experience. This person has a little bit more, management. Maybe this person has more technical experience, or this person seems to interview better. So it just starts to get down to shades of gray. So it's not an easy process, right? When you think about that many people, it's hard. It's really hard. We've all applied for jobs and not gotten them, and it's just, there's reasons why. But it may not be that you're terrible. It just may be somebody else was a little more skilled or had something that you didn't have. But I think that's where you continue to just learn, grow, practice your interview process, learn to communicate, continue to network. One of the most important things is to know people. When you know people, that gets you in. For example, the person who may have gotten a job may had a relative work there, and they may not have been that great. They just knew someone. And it sounds terrible to say, but sometimes stuff happens like that. So sometimes it's really getting out and know people. So you guys should be on LinkedIn. Like, everybody here should be on LinkedIn and should be connecting with me tonight.
Yes.
Right?
Referrals are
Yeah. So you want to have people like me in your network who hire all the time. So you want to have that. So start building a network of people, because it's not just what you know and it's not just your skills. You need to make sure you got the right connections, and you need to know about jobs. There's jobs that come out that we don't even post. That we'll just say, oh, we got a guy for that. Let's just bring him over. And maybe we post it just because it's the process you have to go through. We already know who we want. So be in somebody's network to say, you know what, I heard about a guy like that, or he may be a good fit for what we're doing. So not only are the things we're talking about today here really important, but also continue to network, continue to build your skills, continue to get to know people. So every one of you, I spoke to Year Up. I don't know if you know what Year Up is. It's almost like a program similar to what
Year Up.
Year Up, yeah.
I
And
thought you were saying
I
Year
remember
Up on
saying that, being on LinkedIn, I got like 80 LinkedIn requests that night, but I should, and that's a good thing. You want to have people like me in your network. Hopefully that answered your question, gave you some indication as to how it works. What year are you? Are you just
So I graduated with a bachelor's degree in business.
Oh, good.
So I'm currently a business system analyst, and this is my second semester actually. And we have taken a cybersecurity track right now.
Good.
With an emphasis in CCNA.
Awesome. What do you want to do?
I really don't know. So
Okay.
I actually had this discussion with Professor Andrea too. And I really enjoy networking, but I'm also
Yeah.
Right now, I suck at it, but.
That's where we
All
start.
right.
That's how we all start.
Yeah, but you've got great personal skills. You got great eye contact. You communicate. You project well. You present well. You'll do well in an interview, and you seem like you're gaining the right education. So right now, you've got 9 out of 10 things. Right? We just got to get a couple more pieces and parts around your career and what you want to do and figure that out. But you already, you can see you being in a position you want to be in. So that's a great thing. You can see it already. Good. Oh, this Kindle. Yep. Sure.
Can you
So Kendall,
introduce
tell us
yourself?
who you are. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
introduce yourself.
My name's Kendall Ellison. I'm lead man for Edgecore Data Centers over I run the Mason campus. I'm gonna kind of participate in the iMason group and actually kind of share some more knowledge next month. But I love this conversation about hiring and about what you guys need to do to the next step. And I love that question about like, hey, when you're in that last round, how do you get to that? Because
Yeah.
we've had that. What
Yep.
Bryan talked about. All right, I got it down to 3 people. What's gonna make you stand
Yeah.
out from the next person that we're trying to say? All right, he's got the check marks of the skills, he's got the certifications, talking well, seems like a team player. Then the other things, sometimes it's just a feel in that interview. So just think about this. Are you having a good time having a conversation with that
Yeah.
person? Because I will say, like, and sometimes we have to have a hire. Like, hey, this is all I got, I've got to grab this guy. But you have that feeling like, I don't know if he's going to be good enough, but I'm going to take a chance on him. But,
Yeah.
but then you have a guy that you interview like, man, that was a fun conversation. I love talking to this
Yeah.
guy. So there's already kind of a
Connection.
natural feel of that conversation. Like, man, this person that you're interacting with, know who your audience is, right? So if the person you're talking to is going to be your manager, going to be the person that you're going to be reporting to, well, that person is the biggest person you got to make the impression on. And so for that, one of the biggest comments I say to any new employee, your job is to make your boss's job easy, right? So in the hiring process, to me, that's the distinction. Who do I need to carry, nurture? Who can I let him, point him in a direction, or her in a direction they're going to go, and they will just grab it, right? Because there's some parts of this where aptitude is great, your skill sets are great, but the drive, like Bryan's been talking about, who wants it, who's hungry, who's going to say, like, they're just going to soak up everything they can and say, like, I'm just here to take on anything, any role,
Yep.
and just own it.
Yep.
Like, if you haven't seen, some of those books about what professional ownership is of the project, don't worry about departments and all that stuff. Make it successful for yourself because you're making your mark, and it starts with that interview. And I did say it starts right at the very beginning, in that initial process of communications on the application, your resume, right off the bat, if you've got misspellings, you're done, right?
Yeah.
That's your first impression. If you can't be detailed right up to that point, that's something. So in the interview process, as much as you can, the certifications are great, but make it personal too, because it's easier, right? As far as you're speaking from what it makes you stand out, what's important to you. So the more you can make it what you value and what kind of aligns with the people that you're trying to work at the company. Know what the company's values are. So do a little bit of homework when you're coming into these groups. And as you talked about LinkedIn, look at who you're going to be interviewing with. They have profiles and professionals. I've got the veterans hat. So if somebody's a veteran, they have a little bit of an in on me. I know that they know how to follow rules because they've been through the same things that I've been through. But however, everyone has a skill set that they can show that, hey, this is my wheelhouse, and this is my strength, and this is what I'm going to bring to the team. Because that's another part of this where, what are you bringing to me and to the group that maybe I'm lacking at, or that I could use a little bit more of, right? And so some of that you won't know going into there. So part of that might be asking those questions on that interview to find out, tease that information from the person that you're getting that interview. What's the most important thing to them, and what are they looking for? Right. Quick question.
I just want to add one thing too, along kind of with what Kendall said. You never know who your boss is going to be, right? And so that's something too. I mean, a lot of our adjuncts, for example, they're out there working regular jobs, and then they come here to provide a service to us. One day you might find yourself sitting in front of Nikki for a job interview. You might find yourself sitting in front of me for a job interview, right? And the IT world, I think I've said this before to some of my customers, it's kind of small. You know, like it seems like it's so big, but I'll go to a conference and I'll be like, oh, there's someone I knew from 20 years ago. It's really not that big. I don't know if it was my 140 or my 150 class. I went to a cybersecurity conference and I saw someone that I started my career with at Lumen, you know. And so it's just, you never know if you're interviewing with someone today, in 5 years, you might be their boss or they might be your boss, right? So just always go into it with that knowledge, you know, that whole don't burn a bridge type of a thing. Just always be the best you can be so that wherever you end up, you know, you always have a relationship with the person that's in front of you and with you.
Other questions? Do you want to go to the questions?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Got a question.
So, with networking being as important as it is to try to jump that line of just applying, helping you eventually get in our system, which one would you guys recommend being more valuable? Doing conferences or conventions that might be specific to the industry you're trying to get into, or doing a job fair? Or
Oh,
going through an organization like this?
Yeah.
good question.
Yeah, you want to take that?
Yeah.
I know this wasn't one of your answer choices, but I would say internships. If you can get into those are perfect. You're networking like you would do at one of those conventions, but you're also getting on-the-job experience, and I think that would be the most important thing you can do. As far as going to conventions, I think networking anywhere is great. Networking can only get you so far, though. Of course, you still have to do your due diligence, do your work, you know, get your certifications, get your knowledge up, get your EQ up, but networking is important. I would say go to those conventions if you have the opportunity to.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a great answer. I would say go to it and learn to network appropriately if you can. Make sure you do the networking the right way. Don't just show up. And I used to just go there and show up like, I went. And it's like, no, that didn't get me anywhere. I learned the hard way as to really making sure you go there and being intentional. So before I go to an event now, I make sure I go on LinkedIn and find who I'm going to meet with. And I typically have 10 people who I want to connect with and have a topic or something in common. So you find things in common with people. So let me tell you a true story. Maybe this will help. So I was interviewing for an IT manager position in Scottsdale. It was probably 15 years ago. And I found out the person I was interviewing with was the CIO. And he actually went to the University of Arkansas. I'm a big college football fan. And that year that University of Arkansas had 2 really good running backs. And so I knew who they were. I followed college football. So when I got to the interview, I started talking with him. And I said, hey, I heard you went to Arkansas. What do you think about football? We spent the next hour talking about football. I got the job. So learn who you're working with, right? Yeah, just exactly, right? So in other words, it's how you fit in. Sometimes it's not that. He knew my skills were there. My resume was there. He knew all that stuff. He wanted to know how I can fit in. But as soon as we started talking football, we had something in common that I can pull a thread on. So we got along fine from there, and it worked out well for me. So networking really helps, and learning to use the tools like LinkedIn really helps too. Go find people that are in the industry you want. I would tell you guys, unlike with us where you just go to conferences, you can be very targeted. You guys can go and find people specifically who you want to meet with that are hiring managers and leaders in the industry that you can go find, like the networking people. You can be very targeted just off your computer on LinkedIn. Go find the 10 people at that event that you want to talk to that you know are doing it. Go out to their job sites and see their jobs available, and now you got the guy there and the job, and you can do it. True story. Last week we spoke at Australia on Friday. On Friday, I was there. I worked for QTS Data Centers. One of our biggest competitors, but I know a lot of people there, was Equinix. As she was walking out, you were in the parking lot. Remember I was talking to somebody? She was there. She actually said, yeah, I can't find a data analyst. I said, you know what? This guy has been nagging me. He's been really assertive about getting in front of me for a position. And he's in California, and I met him one time, and he always connects with me on LinkedIn, and sent me his resume like 10 times. He's a nice guy, but he's annoying, but he's persistent. So I said, you know, I got a guy who keeps calling me, and he wants to be a data analyst. He calls himself a data scientist. He's getting a master's degree in IT and in programming and everything like that. I said, can I turn him over to you? And she's like, yeah, send him over. I made the connection on Saturday. They connected on LinkedIn together Sunday. They actually started communicating back and forth with resumes. He actually applied for a job last night. She actually wrote a reference for him. That's how fast it worked. And that was all because of who I was talking to, Patricia, out there the other day, and because he was such of a nuisance. So he was persistent, and I like that. I like that. So when I spoke to the Year Up group, I remember saying, all of you that don't have your cameras on, I'm not going to answer your questions. That weeded out 50 of them. The other 25 I spoke to, half of them didn't say anything, and 2 or 3 people did. I said, call me or send me a message on LinkedIn, and we'll have a 30-minute conversation with the 3 or 4 of you that have asked questions and have your video on. And those 3, I'm going to help find jobs.
Yeah, and it really is that simple. You meet somebody once and you're in their mind. Maybe they might not think about it at that moment or even in the next week. But as soon as somebody asks something and you fit that description, instantly they have your name. Yeah, it's quick like that. Even if you have a brief 10-minute conversation, that 10-minute conversation will carry on in their mind for who knows how long.
And you can do something like, here's what I would say too. I always had people, and I do it, for getting on boards and stuff, I have what we call virtual coffees. So I'll reach out to somebody who's, in a board I want to be on or something, and it's something I want to be a part of, and I'll say, hey, do you have time for virtual coffee? I love what you do. Here's what you're talking about. And people are always willing to talk about themselves, always willing to talk about their career and their profession. So ask them that. Talk about that. So I think there's just ways you guys have that I didn't have that when I was growing up. We didn't have those types of tools. You guys have that. Reach out, find people that are doing what you want, that are working at companies you want, and make the connection. I mean, at the end of the night, all of you should be connected to the 3 of us. I should see a LinkedIn request from all of you. You should see who's in my network. You should see all that. So because when I post a job, they'll post a job at my company for a position, and I'll like it, so I amplify it, and you'll all see it. And you'll say, Bryan, that job seems like a good fit for me. You say you were in a class with me. And I'll say, okay, good. Let me send your name over. There's ways in which you can make this work. Leverage it. Don't just network blindly. Be intentional. Be very intentional about what you do. You don't have to send out 50 notices. Send out 10 notices to people you really want to meet with that really are going to help you get where you want to be.
And Bryan will ask me too. This student reached out to me. What do you think?
Yeah.
Right? So that's why it's important to present yourself in class the way you're going to present yourself in business. And I want to piggyback to answer your question a little bit deeper. So I think agreed, internships are great, but don't count on an internship. I'll be quite honest with you. In the field of IT, there are not that many internships out there. A lot of IT companies will start by hiring through contractors. Right? They'll use a contract company, they'll put you on for 90 days, and that's kind of like their version of an internship. Try and buy. If you work out, they'll extend an offer for another job. So I'm not saying there's no internships out there, right? But there's not a lot of them. And unfortunately, with internships too, because you're in a 2-year university, you sometimes get weeded out. Like internships often, unfortunately for IT companies, they're looking for people with a 4-year degree often. And that's a disservice to us because I think we have a lot of really great graduates, a lot of really great students, but that's a reality. So I do agree internships are a great way to network, but please do not count on that because you may not end up with a job if you're waiting for an internship.
Yes.
You want to, think of other ways. I love conferences, going to conferences, or joining some sort of organization. Cisco has one. There's several Cisco ones in the Valley. So again, just a little piece there on internships.
Would you recommend going to a 4-year degree before actually applying for, say, internship? Or
No.
No, apply now.
Yeah.
Apply now. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, when I was growing up, we had to get a degree. Getting a 4-year degree was a requirement. I don't know if that's the case now. I'm not sure. It depends on what you want to do in life. Obviously, you want to be a doctor or something. You got to go to school. Yeah, a lawyer or
But
something.
your
You gotta
rack
go
and
to
stack employees,
Yeah.
how many of them are
Yeah.
4-year degrees?
None. I don't even. We don't look for. Yeah, we're not looking for the 4-year degree. To be honest.
the CCNA and the network?
Yeah, and some of them
Or
don't even have a
network
CCNA.
plus.
I
You
mean,
don't
we
need
have
both.
guys we've hired on that came straight out of the Navy. They were very bright people, but just didn't have any technical skills in the data center. We trained them up. So we're just looking for, a lot of times it's just attitude and aptitude. We're looking for bright people. If you can come in and display that you're bright, if you've got some certifications, that always helps. But we're just looking for really bright people that can come in. But yeah, I don't, it depends on what you want to do. Then you make that decision, but you don't have to have a BA.
Just pluses, like we were talking about earlier on the resume, just pluses.
And work ethic.
Yes.
Work hard. Like
Yeah.
I think that's one of the biggest things, like just having tenacity to work hard. I mean, I remember I interviewed a guy in Sacramento and he said, well, I can start working right now. My wife's in the car. I'll leave her there. So hold on, don't do that. I don't need you right now. Like, take it easy, go home and change. But, so just want to see that tenacity. Want to see you work hard. I mean, you'll be surprised how hard we work, how hard the work is, and it's just wanting to. It's just there's a lot to do. There's a lot of work, and you just have to have the right attitude and aptitude around that. Even at this age, even at 54 years old, I still get up at 3 in the morning. I still work hard. I still travel a lot. I still do a lot. Yeah, I get up every morning around 3:30 every morning. So catch up with I get conference. Yes, I take conference calls from London, and we have things we want to do. If you want to do the big things in life, you got to sacrifice. You got to do certain things. I go to bed at like 7:30. So you guys are taking up my sleep time. It's what you want in life. What do you want?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So you mentioned that you have conference calls with people from other countries. So do you guys have data centers that are all over the country?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, all over. Yeah, absolutely.
Move there?
Yeah, we're building right now close to 30 data centers in the United States, and we've got a huge push for international expansion. So we're actually, and Microsoft obviously is everywhere.
Microsoft
So yeah,
already is,
they
yeah.
know where they're at. So they're all over. But yeah, you can move around a lot. I think you'll be amazed that when you get into an organization, you can do so many different things. I mean, I've worked in sales, I've worked in operations, I've worked in connectivity now, I've worked in I managed procurement for years. I've done a lot of different things. You can move around the organizations. You get the right organization, you can move around. So it's managing your career. You have to manage your career. So I would say, if you wanted to go somewhere, like we actually have the certificate program here and the internship we talked about. We had more positions back east in Atlanta and DC, and we have positions in Hillsboro, Oregon. We're growing data centers all over the place. So yeah, we're happy to move people where we need them to. You trying to get out of the valley here? Too hot? She like, oh yeah. We have London, Amsterdam. Most of my calls are London and Amsterdam, so we don't have a lot in Asia. But right now, for me, it's really London 2 or 3 times a day. So they're morning calls, so that's why I'm up so early. But yeah, it's a lot of opportunities, a lot of different places.
Yeah, we have data centers everywhere. Anywhere that you
Everywhere in the world.
Yeah, anywhere that you see a large population, a large use of any online services, AI, or in our case, any Microsoft Office products, anywhere you see a hub of people, you probably have a data center there. So I also want to add that getting into a data center, I want you to see it as I'm starting my career, and I can move here from anywhere else, like Bryan said. You're starting there, but the door is wide open. So rather than think of it as an end goal, just get in there, and then the world is yours after that.
And again, that's the same for any IT job, right? Just learning the skill, just learning the skill. So I want to piggyback on Microsoft. Same goes with AWS, right? AWS, it's all over the world. It's everywhere. So another thing to think about when you're learning is cloud, right? What is cloud? It's in the data center, right?
You guys know what a cloud is?
AI.
I did that one. Somebody was like, "It's up there."
AI
Yeah,
is
all
in
that.
the data center.
Everything you
right?
do here on your phone,
Is-
everything is in the data center.
Which
like
is-
when you
yeah.
ask for those services, I'm sorry to cut you off,
Yeah.
but I'm passionate about this because people don't realize what that is. The cloud is actually in data centers. All those racks and servers, we build the cloud in the data centers. So that's where everything is kept. So we have to have tremendous amount of bandwidth and umbilicals to connect all those billions of people who connect into our data centers. Everything you do on your phone runs through a data center. So that's why we talk about it, and I think we haven't done a good job as an industry of presenting how technically savvy we are and what we have. We have AWS and all this technology on-ramps and everything you can think of. We have that at the data center because that's where we are, and that's what we do, how you connect. So for us, I think we've got to do a better job as an industry of presenting ourselves and communicating as to where the cloud lives. We actually have a little video around that we had to start pushing out so people understand, because we're just these big buildings with gates and security and stuff, and nobody knows what we are. But we've got to start breaking down that mystique and start letting people know what we do and what we are.
That's where your favorite cat and dog videos live.
That's right. That's right.
Is in the data
That's
center.
right.
Your
Yeah.
favorite,
Yeah.
Again, so it's just, there's so many different areas, and that's why, again, the areas that we target that we want people to learn, right, is get some networking skills, get some Linux skills, get some cloud skills, right? Those are the things that make you able to move in these jobs and then move around, right?
Yes.
And move around.
And your career matures too. Like I'll tell you, at 54, there's things you do
Yeah.
when you're young, at you guys' age. You go into something, and then your life, like typically, like every 5 or 6 years, you want to start to change. You want to change careers or change professions and do something different. And I still have that. I like doing different things. I don't like doing the same thing. So for me, on the data center side, I don't really like the building of new stuff. I lead a team that just shuts down all the old equipment. So we actually have guys like you and guys like you who go in and help me, and we do these kind of gnarly type projects where we go in and we'll shut a data center down, and it's amazing. It takes 3 years to do. We pull all the connectivity, all the servers. We do all that work gracefully to get our customers moved out, and we'll decommission a data center. And we created a whole new team. So there's times we want people who are problem solvers. We want people who can think differently, who don't want to just order from the menu. None of my guys went through the normal college process. None of my guys like doing regular traditional stuff. We do all the gnarly, ugly stuff. Like I sent a team that's going up Sunday to go shut down some stuff in New York. And so they like going to New York City. They'll go up there and they'll work 12 hours straight. They'll hang out and then they'll go into the city and have a good time and then come back over and finish working. So we do things that are very different. You can do that in different types of positions and doing different things when you've got the right skills. So business requires a lot of things, but we need problem solvers. We need people who can think on their feet. We need people who can move dynamically. We need people who are willing to do a variety of different things. I never thought I'd be shutting things down and doing that type of work, but it's fun. I love it. We do all kind of stuff. We've done 18 different shutdowns, and it's just amazing that I can build a career around doing something like that. So sometimes you never know where opportunity comes, but it comes with a hard hat and work boots because it's work.
Okay, so guys, you say my guys.
My
Girls too.
So listen, women.
Yes,
We
women.
need women.
We do.
So can you
Let me
please
say that.
talk-
I apologize. I
Okay.
didn't mean just guys. I was saying emergent. I do actually have some women on my team.
And you'd like more women
I would
on
love
your
more
team.
women. We desperately want. So last year I actually put a program together to get more technicians into the data centers. We had one that came through. Unfortunately, she didn't make it to the end. But we want to see more women in the industry. We really would. I think there's a certain amount of diversity brings so much creativity and problem solving, and some of the most gnarly, ugly things we've done, I've had the right team with women on it that have really helped bring a different skill set. Sometimes men have a very linear way of thinking, and women can bring a different skill set to the team. And sometimes they're able to defuse the masculinity that we have sometimes in situations when it's 2 a.m. and we're trying to struggle through a router issue. We can get other people to get involved. So it's just, you're 100% right. We need more women in the industry. I would love to see every one of you guys connect and go into IT.
Every one of you people?
Every one of you people. Every one of you people connect. Sorry. Everybody, yes.
So is it true there's not really that big remote management degrees right now, like for doing remotely?
Yeah, we actually do. I mean, after COVID, we actually, we had people work more remotely, but our NOC is in Atlanta, and so we're right outside of Atlanta, and we actually have some people that work remotely, but we tried to bring them back, and we brought probably 60% back, but there's a larger than prior to COVID population that still works from home. So I don't know if to answer your question. I think there's some of that, but maybe
Now
not
you
as much.
talk to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I will be completely honest. I'm not here to crush dreams. But when you're starting out in a company, especially in a data center, as an entry-level tech, you should expect to be on site. People want to know that you can do the job. People want to know that you're accountable, you have integrity, you do the job right. I think that our people, our generation, love remote work, the idea of it. And don't get me wrong, it's great. But I think for an entry-level position anywhere, it is a bit unrealistic. It can happen for sure, and it happens to a lot of people. But I think a better thought process would be to expect to be there physically and work up to a remote level, especially working as a technician. There are, of course, remote operators that help out and give assignments to the technicians, but you have to know the data center. You have to know the hardware that's in there. You have to know how things work in order to be offsite and still give that instruction. So, yes, remote work is possible, but if you plan to come into data centers as an entry tech, expect to be there.
And that's true for any entry-level job. Don't expect your first job to be remote. I'm not saying it couldn't happen. It's not that likely. It's not that-
Sometimes you don't get the visibility you want if you're remote. You don't really get a chance to get that FaceTime. You get a chance to build on your hands-on. But it's also, again, that EQ, right? Get a chance to spend time with people to get to know people. Like I know you were at the event last week, and I appreciate you asking questions. You're here again today. I love that. So I mean, again, you're showing me you're interested. You're showing me you're engaged, and that's what you want to see, right? So when I walk around at the office, I want to see the guys and what they're doing. I want to hear what the techs are doing, talking about how they communicate with each other. So sometimes you lose something in your early stage of your career if you just work remote. So just don't always look at it like that. Make sure you're taking care of your control of your career by saying, I want to be there. I want to be visible and valuable. So visible and valuable. And then we tell our guys that when you're visible and valuable and people see you, people know who you are. And so there's times when our corporate office is in Overland Park, Kansas. There's nothing in Overland Park, Kansas. Nothing there. But I used to fly out probably 4 times a year just to be seen. I would literally just go park and be there and go into the office and spend time there just to get visibility, because it's important. People need to know, because I do work remote. I'm here remote, but the majority of activities in other parts of the country, at least until recently when we started building data centers here, but it's really wanting to be visible and valuable. It's what you want from your career and who you want to get to know. And people need to see you to promote you. And they're not going to promote you if they don't see you all the time. People want to know who you are and trust you and see how you engage and how you interact with people.
Right. All your leaders and leaders you wouldn't even know that are your leaders will probably be there on site. So to add to Bryan's point, if you want to be seen by those people and let them see how you work, how you interact, you have to be there. So I would say it's beneficial to your career to be on site.
Yeah.
Visible and valuable. It's so important in your career.
All right, so it's 7:25, so we're gonna,
question.
I know.
Okay.
So I want to see if there's any other questions. Angel?
Something that you had said quite a while ago is that most important thing about IT is documentation. So I wanted to know what would be like a day-to-day occurrence in terms of documentation.
I could talk an hour on this one. Oh God, we got some guys that are horrible. It is so bad.
It's
Are
so
you good at
bad.
it? Are you good at it? You feel like you're good? Oh, you're not. Oh, I was gonna hire you right here.
Right?
You just missed out on the job. Like if you were like, I am awesome, I was gonna be like, dude, come home tonight. I'm gonna take you to work tomorrow. Oh good God, here you go first, because I'm about to fall over.
I didn't pay them to do this. The perfect question, Angel, thank you.
I will say this.
Yeah.
I'm a
yeah.
documentation stickler.
If you can document, and the project, I'll just tell a quick story.
Yeah, go ahead.
When we were tearing down this data center, right, we had about 15 guys, people.
Yeah.
working for me.
yeah.
Working for me. And
Good catch.
Some of the best people were the ladies on the project that were so good with documentation.
Yes.
And they were able to do something. The guys just seemed like they were above them. The ladies, right, still remember Laura and Heather, did such an amazing job at documenting all the 490 cables going into this rack that was just a spaghetti mess. The worst
Yeah.
thing everyone has
Yeah.
seen. It was a data center, terrible, and there was no documentation at all.
Gremlins.
So just a terrible situation, and they were so good at it. So there's value in that. And learn to solve problems. That's learning to solve a problem and learning to fix a need, right? Find out where a hole is and fix it. And if you see something that's really bad documenting, that's an opportunity.
Yeah.
So figure out what that looks like. And some of the folks that do some of the work for me are great at putting equipment in, but horrible at documenting.
Yeah.
And that's where you have really good people come behind them and do the documentation for it, which is so required, because you're gonna need that when you're troubleshooting. You're gonna need that when you're labeling equipment. So that's a huge thing. So learn to be good at it. Be as good as you can at it, because it's so important.
Yes.
And good documentation prevents troubleshooting.
Exactly.
Prevents
Yes.
prevents some problems,
It
so,
saves time,
okay.
saves money.
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
Saves
okay.
money.
And you might not get fired.
That's
Good, okay. Naim, go ahead.
yeah. I'll keep mine short. I know
No,
we're
you're
running.
We're fine. I mean, we're all these people are in class.
Yeah, we're having a good time, right? We're
Yeah, we're
okay. Awesome. So yeah, documentation is really important. I just want to touch on Bryan's point for a quick second. If you notice something like that that's going wrong or something that you can fix, jump in there and fix it. Documentation is a great example. I don't know about all data centers, but at Microsoft we work on tickets. So we get tickets of things that are going wrong, maybe some customers experiencing outages, problems with the hardware. So it's our job to go and fix it. When we fix it, we need to document it, because there's a bunch of other techs. They all see the same tickets, and if they decide to work on it, you could be spending hours doing rework of some work that somebody already did. And that's not what you want. You don't want to waste resources like that. So properly documenting everything that you're doing prevents repeat steps. It may add information to the next tech that has a bit more experience and is able to quickly just jump in and figure out that problem. But a lack of documentation, you're just spinning your wheels. You could be doing stuff that people did 3 times already, and nobody would ever know because it's not documented.
And
I
or the
want-
wrong thing, right? Wrong
Yeah.
port, you put the wrong switch port in there, wrong interface. Oh, it was reverse interface as opposed to the third.
Yeah.
Just little things, just the details.
It really
so
is.
That is a great example because we all use ticket. All the data centers use ticketing systems.
Yeah.
Use ticketing systems. So you would come in if you're a technician, you would have so many tickets in your queue you need to solve for. So you close that out, you rack and stack, go back to the customer, document what happened. You can tell the text with a good documentation. And it lives in the system for years. We've had times you go do a shutdown, and I'll send my folks over there, and we'll go do a big shutdown, and you'll see in their tickets, and it's very well documented, and we're appreciative of that.
Yeah.
So it's really a good thing, and you'll live, your reputation, that'll follow you.
Yes.
As being a good tech and a good documenter will follow you as a good reputation. I have techs
Yeah.
that I can still tell you who they are, who are great at documenting.
Yeah.
And I have some that are horrible at documenting, and I can tell you who they
Yeah,
are.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's a good reputation. to have.
You
So-
could see tickets from years back.
Years back, yeah.
You could see a ticket from,
Years back.
yeah, say a ticket 3 years ago. You'll see all the documentation that was put on that ticket. So it's always there.
So to my class, what is this reminding you of?
Descriptions.
No, just not just descriptions, but
Those are nice
descriptions,
too,
but
though.
what else? What are we doing in class on a regular basis? Troubleshooters, right? Like documenting, what did you find? What is the trouble? What did you do to fix it? And what if you didn't fix it? You still document everything because the next person has to
Yes.
come in behind you. There is a method to everything we do in this class, right? It comes from my experience, right? So that's where this comes from, why we do these things. So
Yes.
that when you go here, right, you're already ready. You're already standing out, right? It's the low-hanging fruit to be a good documenter. It's low-hanging fruit.
So, kind of shifting gears a little bit.
Please.
Someone who has no prior knowledge in this, no background, just starting out, kind of overwhelmed by all the information they're taking in these classes.
Yeah.
What's the best piece of advice you could give them to succeed in?
Good question.
Yeah. So I was in your position when I started spring of 2023 at EMCC. My best piece of advice is to be patient with yourself and give yourself grace because it all compounds, it all builds on each other. Yes, all of this stuff may be foreign right now, but when you're in your classes next semester, you pick up bits and pieces from your last class and you're like, oh, let me put that together. Oh, that makes sense now. There's more information on that. So the longer you go, the more it starts to build and it starts to make sense eventually. For me, that clicking point was, I believe, 160 and for the Cisco classes. I was like,
Right.
oh, this is why we're doing this. Oh, now that makes sense. So just keep going and don't give up. That's the best advice I can give. Don't give up.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that, because my 150 students right now, they're working on a project, right? And it sometimes feels like a beatdown. Right? But it comes together, right? It comes together. And same goes even with A+, right? It builds. So it doesn't happen overnight. You're not going to become a networking genius, a hardware genius overnight. It's years. It's 21 years in the industry. It's 30 years in the industry. Like, right? You're where you are right now, but you're going to keep moving. So
So things like this are sequential, not simultaneous.
Oh.
Everything builds on it. You like that, right?
Yeah.
You like that. So
I do.
life is sequential, not simultaneous. The things that you're experiencing, I experience as well. And you just build upon those things. So the things you're learning in one class will lead to the next. The things you learn in those classes will lead to the certification. The things you lead in the certification will lead to a good job. You start to build upon that, and you'll grow your competence and skill sets. So just trust the process, work hard, stay tenacious, and if you have to get study groups and communicating, do what you can do to figure it out. But it's going to make you stronger. It's going to make you want it that much more. It's going to make you that much more tenacious. All right?
So, and before we end, we're hoping to kind of put this into place where we'll be meeting every month, right? Doing something, we might even do something through the summer, we'll see. All right, so if you have some topics that you're interested in, it doesn't have to relate to a data center. I mean, we're open to a variety of different things, right? I mean, that just happens to be where we're starting. That just happens to be where we're starting. So, if you have something now that you'd like to throw out that I can take down, go ahead and call it out. And if you think of something, email me, right? And so, again, we really want this to become something that we do on a regular basis and keep it going for years, right? So
I think we had one hand raised
Yeah.
already, or two.
How would I be able to get in to do like a tour to see the data center?
we're working on that.
That's a great question.
We're
we
working on
actually have, I was at a meeting today, we actually have a data center tour at H5 data centers on the 3rd of, or the 8th of August, but it's already filled up.
It's in the East
So
Valley.
we're gonna, it
too.
is in
We
the
need
East Valley.
something over here.
Okay, all right, we're working on it. Let me find something for you and we'll see. If not, what I want to do is do a virtual tour and be
Yeah.
able to bring a video so you can see that, so you can see what it
We're
looks like.
working on
You'll see how cool it is inside, what we do and how it operates, and get you more comfortable. Because I think that was the part when I went to South Mountain and did some other programs, people couldn't get their head around what we were saying, what we were talking about. It seemed like it was just too big to understand. So we can definitely see what we can do to work on that. You got a question in the back? Hi.
My name is Viviana. I'm in class. Right now, I'm actually advocating for our online students
Okay.
who are viewing this stream live.
Okay.
And one of them wants to know, well, we want clarification on whether this type of event will happen every Wednesday or if we'll have something similar
Yeah.
on a regular basis.
Yes, we are going to have something on a regular basis. It's going to be the 4th Wednesday of the month. So we will be here. So we're going to bring in different speakers, and if you guys have someone you want to see, I'm going to bring some different types of folks in. We can talk, have different conversations. We can come back and do different things. We're going to have Kendall, who's teaching the Intro to Data Center class. He's going to teach that over at Estrella, and we've got someone named teaching. Jesse's teaching it over in Mesa. So yeah, we're going to have this every 4th Wednesday at 6:30. All right.
So we'll have one in March, we'll have one in April, and we'll have one in May, and then we're not sure what's gonna happen in summer yet, but, I mean, we're actually hoping to just
Yeah.
keep it
Does this work
going.
for you guys? Do you like this? Does this work? Okay. Is it helpful? Okay. Good.
The 4th Wednesday
Yeah,
of every
4th
month.
Wednesday. So
Yeah.
it's going to be great.
If y'all
Right.
like me enough, I'll stick around.
Yeah. Right now, it's gonna be here. It's gonna be in this classroom, and we've talked, and we do a lot of work with Estrella, right? So we do a lot of stuff with Estrella and Rochelle from the business IT, and so they might host it, but as of right now, it's gonna be here because I've got the streaming capability.
Yeah, this works out
So, right, but yeah.
Is there any topics you guys want to see off the top of your head? You can email Andre about it, but is there anything you can think about that we've said that maybe trigger something you want to have a conversation about? Go ahead. Oh, good question.
Oh,
Do we have
good
time to
question.
answer?
Yeah, again, we have time. So anyone that needs to leave, and Nikki, you're good? Okay. So
Okay.
our class doesn't end till 9.
Oh,
So
okay.
if there's anyone on the live stream that needs to leave, by all means, you can leave. If you want to stay, you can stay. But we're okay. We're in
Okay.
class till 9.
Okay.
These students are probably happy not to have to, not to have to do a troubleshooter,
Yeah.
not have to write descriptions.
Well, hopefully this is helpful. So to your question, I think there's a couple things. So when you connect with somebody who in networking, the goal is for you to let them know that you have an interest in what they're doing, find some commonality around, and ask questions. Like when people reach out to me, I say to them, I know they don't have a lot of knowledge. I understand that, especially of your age, right? I know they don't have a lot of knowledge. I'm looking for people who have attitude and aptitude, right? If they reach out and say, hey, I'm trying to get into networking, is there anything you can suggest? And then we'll respond. So I think just being very candid and being very honest around the fact of, hey, here's where I'm at in life, and we'll meet you there. And if you find somebody who's doing it and wants to help, and most people will, they'll give you some input and some advice around maybe who you should reach out to or what you should do. And sometimes you don't expect to hear back from everybody. You send 10 requests on LinkedIn, you'll get 7 people respond, 3 you'll follow up, and the next thing you know, you'll end up having coffee with 1 or 2 virtual coffees. So it's okay, it's a numbers game. But what you want is you really want that connection and you want that information. And you find somebody, and I can think back in my career, in my life, on people who have poured into me, you find that right connection, oh man, it is gold. Somebody who's going to inspire you, somebody who's going to give you the jewels that you're looking for, and someone's going to give you the connections that really just push you along and to give you different insights. I tell my daughter all the time, you can buy knowledge or you can borrow knowledge. And if you buy it, you pay full price. If you borrow it from me, you get it for free. But I'm going to help you get there and help you prevent you from having those stumbling blocks that I've had, right? So I can tell you what didn't work and tell you the problems I've had and mistakes I've made, and there's been a lot of them. But I want to tell you those things. So that's what you want. You want to find those mentors. You want to find people who are going to pour into your life, and you're going to find those people that give you that sage advice, and it's amazing what that'll do for you. Does that help you? Okay, good. So go find them. You going to connect with me? Okay. You already did? Oh, really? Nice. I like that. So yeah, go out and look. Yes.
So speaking of LinkedIn, how important is it to be on that website? LinkedIn on a profile?
Yes, good deal. So perfect. So LinkedIn is the tool that we use professionally. So when you think about you apply for a job, a lot of times we don't even respond back. We go to your LinkedIn and see what you're about and look at you and learn about you from there. That's a professional environment where you connect. Hopefully you guys all know that. But build a profile, put your information in there. That's a resume. You basically build your resume. You build your online digital footprint in your resume. So we use LinkedIn all the time. We use it, excuse me, to promote. We use it to advertise. We use it for a lot of different things. So for you, you really should build a LinkedIn profile. And that should be part of hopefully something they have here with resume writing and
Yes.
career services, because it's important. And that's the first thing we look at. So when you see somebody and you go out, our teams in HR, like you apply, right? She's going to go look at Facebook to see if you're out there doing something crazy. And if you are, your resume goes in the trash, right? I'm just being honest. Like you have a digital footprint and profile out there. So don't think people don't look at it or find it. So make sure it's curated to what you want. Make sure it's polished. Make sure it has the information. Don't lie or embellish, but be candid about what you're doing and be honest about who you are. And talk about, hey, looking to get a position in this, looking to gain this, looking to do that. And go look at profiles. Go look at my profile. Go look at everybody's profile. When I tell young people all the time is have a LinkedIn profile. We all look at it. That's who hiring managers look at first. So if you don't have it, then you're missing out because the other person you're applying to has it. So that's another thing. Like, don't have your digital footprint be a misrepresentation of you or lacking, or don't have it, or, oh, I don't do that. I just do Facebook and Instagram. Okay, but that's not going to get you a job, most likely, right? Unless you want to be a YouTuber or something like that. If you're applying for influencer, yeah, that's what I meant to say, right? I'm a little old, right? All right. We're going to go on stage. We're going to go take this on the road here. So, yeah, so I mean, you have to have that. So learn how to build and curate your LinkedIn profile, and it's called your brand. And we could spend an hour talking about it, but it's important. And you want to make sure your brand is there. That way people see who you are and know about that. So when I had some students from South Mountain, my wife actually does this, and I had her spend some time with them before they went and applied for positions that I recommend them for. Get your LinkedIn profile, get your resume up, do the right things to prepare yourself, because you're trying to change your life. Like, you're trying to level up, like you're trying to get a career, not a job, a career. So it's going to take work. So do the work, and that's doing the LinkedIn profile. So did that help you, or did I answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's important. So you're going to do it tonight?
Well, I have one. I don't have anything that's related to IT professional tutoring.
That's okay.
I have like the classes I've taken.
Perfect.
Okay, and that's fine.
That's
That's
the
fine. You want to show the attitude and
That's
aptitude,
the start.
right?
Yeah.
Attitude and aptitude is what we're looking for. Question? Oh, go ahead, Kendall.
So I was just gonna say, like, the resume, right? Like, even though you guys may not have a whole lot of experience to kind of show out there, I mean, the LinkedIn profile still is gonna be important for you to show like what you're involved in, what's important to you. You know, if you even going back to school stuff, if you had like things that you want to showcase and brag about you that show kind of what you're about, they're all relevant. So like being able to sell yourself is what you're doing, right? You're absolutely, you've got to be able to sell it, right? So the other part I would say, hand in hand with that, once you do get a lot of experience, some people get a lot of certifications, get a lot of, I've had the guys who worked in HVAC for 30 years and know how to take apart an AC, AC from the ground up, but then when they're applying for a job that I'm trying to do a data center operator, I've got to go through a 5 or 6 page resume. I'm already turned off.
Yeah.
I'm already at the thought like,
Yeah.
you are not able to give me the information that's relevant to me in a very succinct and easy
Yeah.
manner, right? It's gonna get you kind of thrown to the side. So think about what the application that you're going to, what the job description is. They're telling you what they want to hear on that. So if your resume is gonna be a one-pager, speak to those key credentialing things they want you to have, those key skill sets they want you to have. They're giving you the answers. If you can speak to them, great, put them on there. But then if you want to put more stuff that you just want to brag about, a LinkedIn profile can do that, right? That can be like, hey, I'm volunteering in this efforts because of whatever. The things that are important to you, those are also selling points too, because like, oh, this person is more than just about whatever, about just trying to get a job. But there's something bigger than something they're looking into. I know there's a lot of people now where even the dollars isn't all the things about the job anymore.
Right.
So learning that, hey, you're doing this because you have a passion, right? And so showing that in the LinkedIn profile is as much as important as anything else. So I often use that as a supplemental type of thing. Like, all right, here's my resume. Okay, what else do I have to know about this person? What are the other things? Well, what education things? And often what you'll often see, it's just very common, what we got our degrees in, oh, that's not what we're working in now. You'll see that, like it's just common. So, so don't be discouraged that you don't have a whole lot to show from education and certification, but what you do have trying to do.
Yeah, so you put that in your feature section. You can put it as a project at the bottom. You can put down things that are important to you and causes or things it gives you a chance to be a little bit more personable, right? And you can talk about those things. It's professional, but you can also talk about, like if you do a project here, you can talk about it and put it as a feature. Hey, did my
A
first rack
project? Are we doing a project?
yeah. So my first rack and stack, and you did this, and maybe put pictures up and talk about that. So those are things that we want to see. We want to see that you're passionate about it. Did you have something with that? Okay. Any other? Oh, sorry, we're taking over.
No, are there any other last questions? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Sure.
So,
Yeah,
I had
thank
a
you.
question about, so I see a lot of people that are even following fields of networking at school. So, my question is, a lot of these students, they're going on a cybersecurity pathway. So I would say, what is the importance of cybersecurity, especially in the networking field? And also, what is the market for that, or is there any people you guys are looking for in cybersecurity?
So I think I love that cybersecurity's gotten to be the hot topic, but I would say that getting into networking, getting started, doing the switching and routing, getting just a base understanding is a great place to start. So before we get people at QTS, we have 4 tiers to our troubleshooting, our NOC, what we call it. And the cybersecurity piece is the tier 4 part. You start off at tier 1. But I mean, starting off at tier 1 is a $65,000 position. You're doing the switching and routing, you're doing that stuff, you're troubleshooting, you're doing ticketing, you're doing that stuff. So I would just say, I get it, and I know people really want to get to cybersecurity. It's kind of the sexy buzzwords of, what you hear in the industry today. But I would say that you can do very well with a base understanding of just routing and switching and networking components and having good foundational fundamental skills in networking. I feel like a lot of times we're seeing just people put cyber on anything. It's almost like AI. You see people put AI on everything. Oh, I do. You don't do AI. So it's a buzz. It's very popular and it's needed. I'm not saying we don't. And there's a lot of people who do want to get into cyber, and I think that's a great path to get to. But I don't want people to feel like they have to go that route or they have to just jump right to there. There's a lot of great things you can do with the networking degree, and a lot of great things you can learn, and a great career you can have without having a cyber degree. And I think just being able to know switching and routing, there's so many things you can do. I mean, and I would also say too, I know this is a Cisco class, so maybe going outside the bounds here, but we don't buy just Cisco gear. We buy Junipers, we buy Palos, we buy all kind of stuff. The more versatile you are, I would take that over being a cyber expert. If you can be versatile and know all those different things, we've got some guys people who work for me that are very, very, very good at they know all the different brands. They can jump on Junipers, they can jump on 1003s, they can jump on old school 6509s, they can jump on the new Nexus switches, they can do everything. And it's amazing to watch those guys work. When we go into a data center we're doing work in, they'll go in and it's like, oh, the Junipers there ties to that. They'll go work on that, then work on a Cisco, then work on a Palos, it's impressive to see that. So having a varied set of skills is really a good thing in certain cases. So hopefully that helps answer that question. Yeah, what are you looking to do?
So, I'm going on a cybersecurity pathway.
Okay.
But I don't mind starting off with networking.
Yeah. I think that's a great goal. That's what I wanted to get to. Like, I think having that as an ultimate goal is great, but you're going to have a great career. Enjoy the journey, maybe, is what I'm trying to say. Like, don't feel like you got to just automatically jump there, because you won't be as well-rounded. Build yourself up, get some good skills on yourself, and continue to grow and get to that point. So that's awesome.
Networking is foundational. Everything builds from the network.
Having a good
And I
foundation.
just want to, for all of you that are on the cybersecurity track, I posted something in there, the cybersecurity associate's degree, you can do a networking track, you could do a Linux track, you could do, I think, a cloud administrator track. So there's a way to get it, to build it, get it all in there. I don't remember the exact percentage, like 82% of all cybersecurity professionals started out in networking.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that has to be your path. That is the norm. That's just the normal way.
progression.
Because cybersecurity is encompassing protecting and testing a network. And so if you don't understand how packets move, if you don't understand how a port works, how it opens, how it closes, it's hard to do cybersecurity, and then to start using all the software tools. Like a cybersecurity professional, like the broad range of cybersecurity software tools, those things make sense when you understand the underlying network. So that's all we're
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
And it's just like cybersecurity is a big thing, right? It's a big
It is, and I think also when I think about our cybersecurity team, they're business professionals. They do. It's very different. Like they're not in the knock. They don't work on the devices the same way. They do more penetration testing and some of those things. They're more business functions. So you're going to have EQ. You're going to have to learn and do and use the tools of business. So don't assume. I think some people think cybersecurity. I'm going to go and I'm just going to sit in a dark room and just do all that. That's not what they do. Those people in cybersecurity sit in a lot of meetings.
Meetings, yeah.
Like it is a different
Dealing
skill.
with
Yeah, it's a different. Yeah,
customers.
you're very much on the business side of things. At least where we are and what I've seen. So think about what you're doing there. I think some of the people who want to be really hardcore techs go, I want to do cyber, but you're not going to sit in some room and just do all the things that you think about. Sometimes it's more of most of the time it's doing business functions, meetings and conference calls with clients, and that's if you want to do that, that's what I do all day. But I don't think that's what you want to do. So. Yeah, probably. That's to some extent, not all day though.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with meetings though,
All right.
right?
So let's wrap it up.
Okay.
I would love to talk all night, but let's wrap it up so we can do some class. All right. So thank you everybody for coming. We're going to do this again next. We're doing this on the 27th, March 27th. So, and it's actually going to be similar because I think are we doing the data center talk? Or let's talk. We'll
let's figure out what we want to do. Did you
And
guys
maybe
enjoy
by
this
then we'll get
conversation?
some-
Okay. Does this help you? Okay. All right. Well, let's figure out. Maybe we can do a combination of things. We'll figure it
Yeah.
out. But we wanna make sure
We'll
we're
be talking
helping you
about
guys,
it. Yeah.
awesome.
Okay.
Thank you guys. Appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
I'm
thank you.
so.
Yeah,
I'm so happy. And just I want to acknowledge the people that are watching the stream too. And this is our first time streaming, so I did get some feedback that we need to repeat the questions.
Oh,
I didn't
yeah,
think
that's
about
a
that
good
because
point.
they
I did
can't. The people on the stream can't hear
Yeah.
people talking, so couldn't
Next
hear.
time we'll do that.
Next time we'll
Yeah.
do better. So for those of you on the stream, we will do better next time. I apologize about that, but we'll get better. So.
Great. Thank you.
All right,
guys.
thanks everyone. Have a good class. My class, stay. Right? Anyone else? And actually, we're going to take a break. So it's 7:50. Come back at 8:01.
My class, if you have a chair on the outside, can you wheel it
Come back at 8:01. Okay, come back at 8:01. Hello. How are you? Good. Good to see you. Thank you.
Hey, I created a shared drive in Google.
I saw
and shared
that.
it to you. I put all the pictures. I took a bunch tonight too for
Oh,
you.
thank
Okay, and I put
you.
all these pictures in there for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Every time I go to do something and I need a picture, it's like I don't have any, so I'm like on
Neither
this
do
picture
I.
thing, and I'm like I'm tired of having to scrape and borrow. And
Oh my God, thank you
together
so
stuff,
much.
so.
I feel the same way. And then my administrative assistant yesterday, she took some pictures of me, because she's doing a flyer, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so helpful. So thank you for doing that.
Absolutely love to.
Thank you.
I gotta get going.
Okay, I'm glad you came. I'm glad. Yeah, I'm recording it, so I'll post it.
So I want you to be able to say, hey, I'm taking pictures right now. I'm working right now. I want to get to the SEC. Awesome. Thank you so much. You're welcome. You're very welcome. Good. How you doing? Good. Good. Thanks for coming out.
Hey, thank you. Oh, man. It's an honor to even be here. Well, hey, you guys got me interested on LinkedIn. Absolutely, yeah. How do I connect with you guys there?
Yeah. So we got websites, LinkedIn. Go out there, find us. You'll see our HR department. That's all right. You'll see our HR department. Go out there and see any jobs. If you're ready for that, you reach out. But definitely connect with me. And when there's a job that's out there, I always repost it or like it or something. You'll see
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'll take a look at that and see if I can connect with you guys.
Yes.
And also,
Yeah. keep an eye on us. We're building
Yeah.
out 5 buildings out in the 40th, and we got like 17 we're going to build in Glendale. So we got a lot going on. So
Yeah, nice.
now our IT departments are more out east. So I don't know if a lot of that work is out of Atlanta, but we do have some rack and stack technicians we do have. So if you're interested in that, if you were doing cybersecurity, that would be out there, and that's again a business function.
Yeah, so no, definitely. Even if I started off with networking or anything, I think that's a perfect role because they translate
Real
translates
well,
very well.
real
Yeah.
well.
So it's
Good for you.
it's really nice. So
Oh, yeah.
Good, awesome. You got a great path.
Yeah.
Stay on it. Stay on it. Just
Yeah.
stay focused. We're from those soft skills, but you're doing great. You got great eye contact. You show up. You ask questions. You're engaged. Listen, I would hire you. I would. I'm tired. You speak up. Like,
maybe in the
talk up.
future. Maybe in the future.
Listen, don't sell yourself short. We need people
Yeah.
like you, all right?
Yeah,
Don't talk yourself out of a job.
Yeah. No.
That's all the good job.
No, I don't want to
Yes,
do that.
that's all right, but you'll get there. You just continue. Let me tell you a real story, okay? Real story. There's a security guard at the building. Okay, we're a small data center. I was working at a 120 Van Buren, and he was a really good guy. And we have a small data center at 120 Van Buren, and we just needed a person. We said we want to find somebody who's not in the industry that we can just work with and grow. Right? Security guard, $12 an hour. We hired him on at 19. A year later, we had a raise for him. We got him at 23. A year ago, 2023, he bumped up to $32 an hour. I saw him the other day. We put him at the main data center. He was $35 an hour. Moved out of his house, got his car. Now he's trying to find a girlfriend. Told him I can't help him.
He can make money now, Bryan.
Can't help him with that. True story. True story. His name is Zach. I did that. Every time he sees me, he's like, "Hey, Bryan, how are you?" He talks like Kermit the Frog. Hey, Bryan. All the time. True story. I did that at Bank of America. You find people with attitude and aptitude. Security guard, Alan. Now he's working at Amazon in Texas in the data center. So you can just, we want to see people who are learning, eager, want to grow, want to learn. So you just continue what you're doing. Trust me, you got the right recipe. I can see it. If you show up, ask questions, you're there. That's what we want. Yeah.
Well, if you guys have any security jobs available, just let me know.
Yeah, I got you, man. Yeah.
Where you from? I hear your accent.
So I'm from Europe, Albania.
Okay.
So it's my second year here.
Okay, all right. So I had an old data center vice, there was a data center that I used to work at. I was hired on by a company, a guy and his wife. They were from Romania, not Romania. It was like, it was Europe, right there.
It's from Eastern Europe.
Yeah, Eastern
so
Europe.
pretty
Eastern
much.
Europe. His name was Ivan. His wife was named Lily. And I worked for them for years. The nicest people in the world. Your accent reminds me of theirs, but awesome. He hired me on my first data center technician job.
Oh, really?
I ran his data
That's
center for 7 years. I got nothing but stories, man. Nothing but
There's
stories.
that commonality
That's
right
it.
there.
That's what you want. Hit me up on LinkedIn.
Yeah,
All right,
definitely.
sounds good. Your name?
All right, good sir.
Hey, is it okay if I talk to you real quick, man? Is it okay if I talk?
Yeah, you want to talk outside or you want to
No, right here. It's fine. So that's actually my cousin. I can talk to him everything. So you're trying to apply to the Microsoft scholarship. So I guess the application's coming out. Do you know where
Yeah, I'm
the
starting with the class, probably the Cisco class.
I just talked to you.
Taking the Cisco class, that's probably what you want. What are you taking now?
My whole yes, kind of like did it between summer. It's not as busy in the summer, so I like kind of close down communications. But I'll get an immediate answer on that. But make sure you text me so I can know.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I was gonna actually get back to you, but when I left, you guys were still recording, so I really not interrupt you. So that's why I didn't start.
Can I offer you advice?
Yeah, definitely. Really?
Okay, don't feel disrespectful. But before, just that that's part of it. People that don't want to interrupt. And I was the same way as well. But being a Microsoft teacher, sometimes you got to put you have to put yourself in that position. So yeah, just with consideration, of course, but always in the always in the
One more question.
Of course.
So, for the internship for Microsoft, so I talked to that lady, I don't know if you guys are familiar with her. So she told me that I guess like Microsoft, that maybe I can apply for the internship. Is that the case?
Another thing to apply. Somebody says that you can't do something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't apply with the certain. I had no certainty. Just a flyer. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's a pleasure to meet you as well. What's your name? Bobby?
First year here.
Yeah.
Just started. You guys told me a lot about cybersecurity, and I find that very interesting.
Yeah.
I just want to know what I can do to get started.
Oh, awesome. So y'all are both going to be here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the internship, the Microsoft Scholarship is a great start. I'll get with Ariane with more information about it, and I'll keep both of y'all in mind. So whenever you want to apply, just let me know when you apply.
I got you. Of course.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank
Yeah, of
you.
course.
Thanks so much, man.
No problem.
Hey,
See
thank
y'all
you.
later.
Have a great night.
Thank y'all for coming.
Have a great night.
It's currently, yeah. It's a data center. GTS data center. So you can do that. Yes, sir. Is there anything else I can help with? Yeah, for me.
It doesn't matter, whoever's open.
Yeah. And I'll direct it that way if I can.
I know.
That's my email. So you're right. So just put a dot in between the names. There we go. That's my email address. Here's my LinkedIn. I'll give my profile right there. But just what you gotta do there. You don't have to that's how you know. What's your name? Aaron. Aaron, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, so I have Thank you, bro. I appreciate it. So I got my discount for the season. You get like your it's crazy. But I'm just curious, like I obviously want to get around all the certain types of systems and like
To some extent.
we're starting off something I would get some
Yeah, I think I would don't sell yourself short like you have to know these things come with time. Like I think a lot of that is you want to see that has to happen. So you've already said that. You've already come present well, communicate well, you seem confident. I would go and say, here's the things you know we don't expect you to know all those systems. Give yourself some grace, man. You like name like 10 things. I got guys that make $200,000 and know all that stuff. Give yourself some grace. You're doing great. Just start to think through when you want to go to and here's your value proposition. We don't expect you to know all that. You'll be surprised at what you're expecting. We're expecting a base understanding, a very base level understanding. Like you can teach it, but you're going to learn. You want to know you're teachable, you listen, you want to be a part of a team, you communicate well. And I can see that right now. That's
The most important thing at Microsoft is growth mindset. Now when you're learning,
No, it's all good. It's all
because there's always more to learn. We never know.
especially with IT, I feel like there's just like so much out there.
I like